Postseason exits never look good, but sometimes they're so bad, they are embarrassing to the franchise. In this video, we are going to take a look at some of the worst postseason exits since the year 2000. We'll give you the 5 worst postseason exits, the 5 most embarrassing exits out of the postseason since the year 2000. What's the criteria? What are we looking for? Let me be perfectly clear with you. Now, we can't go to a winner-take-all, Game 5 or Game 7. That's not going to get you in the top 5. Even if they had a worse record than you or you were the favorites, if you go to 7, it's not good, but it's not going to get you into the top 5. We're also looking for sweeps. We're looking for big-time underdogs. If the better team accomplished a sweep, like in 2009, the 103-win Yankees took care of the 87 Twins, that's not necessarily embarrassing for the Twins. It was kind of expected. It's bad. It's not good, but it's not going to make our top 5. The bigger the series, the better, right? If you get swept out of the World Series, that's more embarrassing than if you get swept out of the LCS, if you get swept out of the DS, if you get swept out of the wild card. You get the point there. So the bigger the series, the better, or worse, depending on how you want to look at it. The rivalry element plays as well. What's your history with that team? We've had some World Series sweeps. Boston over St. Louis, the White Sox over the Astros, the Red Sox over the Rockies, the Giants over the Tigers. And yes, while those were bad and embarrassing to a certain degree, it's not to the level of some of these exits because there was no rivalry. There was no history to any of that. So the rivalries play. The historical elements play. Do you have the most wins of all time? That should be a little tease for those of you out there paying attention. Do you have the most wins of all time? Do you have the most wins of your franchise history? There's another tease for you. We're going to get into all of that. Be sure to leave a like if you're enjoying the content and want to support the channel, support the video, and subscribe if you haven't yet. The community that supports this channel is known as Ballcap Nation. You are automatically a part of it when you hit that sub button. So go ahead. It's free. It's easy. Let's do it. Let's get into this thing, and let's start with some of the dishonorable mentions. We're going to look at some of the teams that didn't make the cut for one reason or another into the top 5. And again, we will move quickly here. We're going to start with this year's Mets. Obviously, you got swept by the San Diego Padres at home. That's unacceptable. But it was in the divisional round, the wild card round. It was in the wild card round, a new wild card round, new wild card format. I don't want to put them in the top 5. I don't want to put them in the top 5, but it is bad. Maybe if we did a top 10, it would be in the top 10, but we're doing top 5 here. Let's keep moving to the Braves. This year's Braves as well. They fell to the Phillies. 101 wins, falling to the 87-win Phillies. Not a good look. You were supposed to go to the World Series, Atlanta Braves. It didn't happen. The Twins in 2019, 101 wins, swept by the 103-win Yankees. And the reason why there is a dishonorable mention, 101 to 103, I get it. But it wasn't even close. 10-4, 8-2, 5-1. That series wasn't even close. That made your 101 wins look weak for the Minnesota Twins in 2019. I understand there were other factors at play. I don't think Byron Buxton was playing, but that's still bad. Let's move on to the next team on the list. The 2016 95-win Rangers, swept out of the postseason by the Blue Jays. This was the year of the Odor punch. 2015 was the Jose Bautista home run. 2016 was the year that Odor sucker punched Jose Bautista at second base. What happened? The Blue Jays went and swept the Rangers in that series. There was no retaliation in that. There was no throwing at any Ranger batters. The Blue Jays just went out there and beat the Rangers. Also, 2016, the Baltimore Orioles. Before that, the Orioles and Blue Jays squared off in a wild card game in which Buck Showalter went with Ubaldo Jimenez, not Zach Britton. This was that game, and the Blue Jays end up getting the win. The Orioles were a good team that year, messed that up, missteps in the wild card. That was talked about for some time after the fact that Ubaldo was left out. Zach Britton was lights out at that point, and they didn't go to him. Next up, 2014, we stay with the Orioles. This was probably the best Oriole team of the bunch, 96 wins. They were swept by the 89-win Royals in the ALCS. It was not that team that went on to win the World Series, the Royals. It was next year's team. The Orioles went down in a sweeping fashion in the ALCS to the Kansas City Royals. Was not a good look. Next up, 2012, the Yankees, 95 wins in 2012, swept by the 88-win Tigers. Now, the reason why it doesn't move on to the next round, because this is a bad look, 95, 88, you were swept. We're looking at ALCS. These were close games. This easily could have been 3-0 Yankees going into Game 4. It was 6-4 and 12. And you had a 3-0, a 2-1 game, close games. And then Game 4 got away, 8-1. The Tigers won that handily. But you could see how close that was. So for that reason, it remains in the dishonorable mention. But maybe it shouldn't, because then after that, the Tigers got swept in the World Series. So the Tigers sweep the Yankees in the ALCS, and then the Tigers go get swept in the World Series by the Giants. Giants were a better team, 94-win team, and another close game, close series, 8-3 in Game 1. But then after that, 2-0, 2-0, 4-3, and 10 to finish that thing off. The Giants and Tigers played a close series, but ultimately, Giants won. That's why, because it was close, we don't move the Tigers on to the top 5. Few more to go here. Why do I keep saying number? Let's go to the 08 Cubs. This was another one. This was affirmation that the Cubs must be jinked. In the ALDS, the 97-win Cubs lost to the 84-win Dodgers via a sweep. 84 wins to 97 wins. The Dodgers sweep the Cubs. Bad look. Again, Cubs must be cursed. Then we had some early century sweeps. The 07 Rockies were swept by Boston. The 05 Astros were swept by the White Sox. And the 04 Cardinals were swept by the Red Sox. And I don't have them in the top 5 because, again, we're thinking about history. We're thinking about rivalries. Red Sox and Rockies don't have a rivalry. The White Sox and Astros did not have a rivalry. The Red Sox and Cardinals, while those were two historical franchises, they didn't have a rivalry. So for that reason, they just miss out, if you will, cracking the top 5. Two more that are very interesting to me. And I think they can at least get the dishonorable mention. They don't move into the top 5, but it was a bad look for both of these teams. The 2006 Mets. The 06 Mets won 97 games. They fell to the Cardinals, the 83-win Cardinals in 2006 in the NLCS. Game 7 is what it went to. The Mets stuck with Aaron Heilman. He had pitched the 8th, got through the 8th. They sent him out there for the 9th. He gave up 2 runs. They went with Heilman instead of should-be Hall of Famer Billy Wagner. And to make matters worse, the Cardinals had a lefty leading off the 9th inning in Jim Edmonds. So everything was telling you to go to Billy Wagner. They went with Heilman. Heilman gave up 2 runs, and then the Cardinals shut him down in the bottom of the 9th. Cardinals were off to the World Series. The Yankees in 04, that was the Red Sox comeback after the Yankees looked like they were about to steamroll the Red Sox. Red Sox came all the way back and won the ALCS and went on to win the World Series. So they get the dishonorable mention for how it all went down, how much better the Mets were than the Cardinals, and the Yankees looked like they were about to put their rivalry away. But I leave them here at the dishonorable mention. I can't move them into the top 5 because these were Game 7s. These went all the way to the end. And as I said at the beginning, Game 5s, Game 7s, they're not going to make the top 5. But we mentioned them because those were bad. That was bad by the Mets against the Cardinals. The whole series long. That was bad by the Yankees. That was on a nat. Everyone was watching that. The day it was just the Yankees lost again. Yankees lost again. Yankees lost again. Oh my God. The Yankees are out. Bad stuff. Let's get into the 5. Let's get into the top 5, and we're going to start with the Dodgers. This year's Dodgers make 5. The reason is, and I know it's the DS, it's not a championship series, it's not the World Series, it was the divisional round, but this was a 111-win Dodger team, the most wins that the Dodgers have ever had in a season of that historical franchise. They set the win mark, and they beat up on the Padres all year long, and then the Padres punched them in the mouth in the LDS. So the Padres get the Dodgers, putting the Dodgers here at the number 5 spot. Number 4, I'm going to go the 2015 Cubs. Swept by the Mets in the NLCS. 97 wins for the Cubs that year. 90 wins for the Mets. So it was a good Mets team, but this was, again, another Cubs team. Finally, maybe this team can get over the hump, can break the streak, can break the curse. No, they got smashed by the Mets, smashed by Daniel Murphy. They got swept out of the NLCS. That's number 4 for me. Number 3, I've got the Yankees in 2003 against the Florida Marlins. The reason why? Yankees were up 2-1 after 3. They needed 2 more wins to close this thing down. And then Josh Beckett and the Marlins got up off the deck, won 3 straight games, and took it back in New York to take the World Series. That 03 Yankee team should have won. They did not. Florida got the job done. That was embarrassing. Up 2-1, losing 3 in a row. Bad look. Bad look. That comes in at number 3 for me. Number 2 is this year's team. This loss to the Houston Astros, I can't go number 1. I'm going to go number 2 here. This was a rivalry. This is Yankees fans chanting underneath the bridge late at night, "We want Houston." Houston went in and steamrolled them. Absolutely destroyed them. But there were flaws to this Yankees team. Some would say they saw it coming. There were some flaws. 99 wins, up and down. I can't put it at number 1, but it is definitely one of the top 5. I've got it as the second worst postseason exit since 2000. And number 1, drum roll please, I got the Mariners in 2001. The most wins in a single season, 116 wins, falling to the Yankees 4-1 in the ALCS. This was a Mariners team. They have not won a World Series. This was their best shot. This was a massive disappointment. This was Ichiro. This was a good Seattle team that just fell to the Yankees. Now this was after 9/11, so Yankee players, Yankee fans, there was a lot of juice there. Maybe that's part of this, but the Yankees went on and lost to Arizona in 2001. So listen, Seattle just did not get the job done at the end of the day. 116 wins is all they got. They did not get the championship. So there we go. Those are my 5 worst playoff exits since 2000, with a handful of dishonorable mentions to kind of let you know what I was weeding through as I was pulling this thing together. What are your top 5? Maybe what should be number 1? If this should not be number 1, if you think what just happened between the Yankees and Astros should be number 1, do you think those World Series sweeps should be in there? Comment and let me know what you think, but this is definitely, these 5 are some of the worst. Certainly you could maybe take some of the dishonorables. You could take some of those world sweeps if you want to and put them in the top 5. That'd be fine. But this was bad. These were bad. These 5, again, the Mariners, that was bad. The Yankees in 22 this year was bad. The Yankees in 03 were bad. The Cubs in 15 was bad. And the Dodgers, I don't think you can argue, those were bad. Those were embarrassing exits from the postseason. And again, a couple times it was the ultimate. It was the World Series. So again, comment and let me know, what do you think? What is maybe your top 5? What is your number 1? Maybe depending on your fan base allegiance, your team allegiance, there is something that stings more. Comment and let me know. What hurts? Misery loves company, people. Comment below. Let's have a little maybe baseball postseason exit therapy session, whatever you want to do. Thank you guys again. I want to remind everybody to hit that like if you have not yet. Make sure to hit the like. It's a great way to support the channel and the video, as I mentioned earlier, and lets me know that you're enjoying the content. And subscribe for instant inclusion into Ballcap Nation. All you got to do is subscribe, and you are a part of the community that supports this channel. Again, lovingly, affectionately referred to as Ballcap Nation. I salute you all. Thank you guys for coming in and spending some time with the channel and watching this video. I will add some links to some of my other content for you to check out here. Now, again, thank you for watching the video. Ballcap Nation, I salute you, and I'll catch you guys next time.